got here? Yeah. Do you want me to fill you in? Yeah. Okay, basically what we're doing is there's a prize that nobody's won yet. This could be you. £100 prize if you can give me a good reason why any of you should be reproducing. Yeah, why any of you should have babies. Because you're beautiful. Really. You think that's a good reason to bring someone into existence? Because you're beautiful. Really? What about all the risks? How do you know your child is going to get that nice parts of you? Maybe the child will get the bad parts of you and the bad parts of your partner. And anyway, what's looks got to do with anything? How's looks help? Ladies and gentlemen, we are offering the £100 cash prize to anybody that can give us a good reason why they should reproduce. If you do not have a good reason why you should reproduce, you shouldn't reproduce. Reproduction, you've got one, so that they can look after you in your old age. Oh, you got me there. Not really. I mean, it's a little bit much, isn't it, Johnny? To have a child just so that they should look after you in your old age. Firstly, by the way, if you are thinking of having a child so they look after you in their old age, I want you to consider A, that they'll probably end up hating you anyway, right? And B, they might die before that. And C, they might not like you very much at that time, right? So the thing is, if you want someone to look after you in old age, what you do is you just put about 1/10 of the money that it would cost to bring a child up, yeah? How much do you think it would cost to bring a child up in an environment where they had at least half a decent chance that they wouldn't end up being wage slaves? How much do you think, somebody? 30,000? God, you're bringing up a cheap child for 30,000. What about somewhere to live? What about the room and the place that you're going to have? No, bringing them up until they die. You need to think about the whole of their lives before you have a child. But even if it's just till 18, we're talking about $1 million minimum to give them a decent chance of not ending up as a working in some, I don't know, H&M or McDonald's or whatever, some horrible job. So the idea that you should have children in order to look after you in your old age is just very foolish, because if you're worried about being looked after in your old age, then you should just put a bit of money aside. If you put 20 grand aside over the years, by the time you reach an old age, you'll have much more money and you'll be able to pay someone from wherever in the world to look after you. You'll be able to pay for a carer who will be happy to look after you as long as you pay them well, unlike your son who will be living in Australia so he can never have to come anywhere near you. After you brought him into existence for no good reason. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, yes, you like the idea that I'm going to go, I know, I understand that. Before I go, I would also like to tell you about one of our new initiatives where we help people like you sue their parents for having them without their consent. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the Bible was written by Moses, and unfortunately, I don't think it can be trusted. The Ten Commandments can be trusted. Number one, because Moses was a parent, so he's obviously going to tell his kids and tell everyone you should honour your parents, right? That's number one. Number two, because they included in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's ass. And quite frankly, I think that is a small problem which has nothing to do with God. If I want to, or you want to covet your neighbour's ass, that is entirely up to you. But I'll tell you one thing. You should not be honouring your parents. Why honour your parents? What, for having the horizontal shuffle? Anybody can do that, right? You need to sue them. You need to find out why your parents had you, and you'll probably realise they had you because they were negligent. At some level, they were negligent. And you can get money from them. If you come to us, we will support you through a special court to help all children claim money from their parents for bringing them into existence without their consent. Yes. Would you like to? Have I sued my parents? Unfortunately, my mother passed away quite a long time ago, and I kind of brought it up with my dad, but I kind of feel a bit bad about doing it. But I am kind of thinking about it and working on it. But my children have started the process of suing me. You don't blame them? No, I don't blame them either, to be honest. Fair enough. I realised, obviously, when I was going to talk about it in public, they were going to find out, someone was going to tell them, and they're going to take me to the cleaners. But I deserve it, because I really didn't think it through properly. Yes, I have no ground to stand on if I am promoting the end of reproduction, but I have children, and if I'm promoting suing your parents, but I haven't sued them myself. Well, I mean, you know, that's you're entirely entitled to your opinion about whether I've got any legs to stand on. I mean, I have legs to stand on, they're right here, and I'm offering help. I'm offering you help, quite frankly. You know, you should be a bit more grateful and a bit more appreciative of the fact that I'm offering you help to get some money from your parents for putting you through this whole ordeal called life with no good reason. We've got it all mixed up here. We all want to get angry with the government and the police and the corporations and all that stuff when it's our parents' fault, everything. Like, for example, if you don't like me right now, yeah? I mean, if you're not enjoying, anybody not really enjoying this experience? No? Okay, fair enough. Do you actually speak English? I just want to check you actually... You did hand up if you speak English. What's that? You put your hand up? You're not enjoying this experience? Well, just to let you know that this is, unfortunately, it's your parents' fault. Yeah? Yeah.
Legal fiction.
Legal fiction? No, nothing to do with that as well. It's your parents' fault for bringing you into existence, and therefore they are the sole cause of all your problems. It's their fault. And you should claim money from them, especially in the state you're in. The worse state you're in, ladies and gentlemen, the more money your parents owe you. To be honest, it sounds like I've made some bad choices in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is true. I know I'm going to come back. I'll let you finish. I will let you finish. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand absolutely here guilty. I have made some bad choices in my life. Yes. Go on. I was clearly raised badly. Yes, I was raised badly, that's true. But that's the point I'm making. We were all raised badly because we were all the very fact that we were brought here for no good reason is the problem. I mean, you still haven't told me why your parents had you.
I'm so grateful they had me.
Well, you may be grateful they had you, but that doesn't tell us why they had you. Number one. Number two, how old are you? 21! You wait till your teeth start falling out and you're 73. And all your friends have died.
28 is this number.
What's that? 21 is... What's that? You've had 21? Sorry, say that again.
I said, age is just a number. I've had plenty of life experience.
You've had plenty of life experience and you've decided that you're happy. Now listen, I'm very pleased that you're happy your parents had you, but that doesn't mean that they're not responsible for all your problems, because they are. And we still haven't... No, you're not responsible for all your problems. You don't have any free choice. Don't be silly. Come on, no serious philosopher today would say that you've got a free choice. Your choices are made by all the stuff that you've been conditioned and brainwashed to do. Like, for example, why have you got a face nappy on?
Because it's coronavirus.
Because it's coronavirus, right, exactly. Right? That doesn't actually make any sense. What do you think, why have you got it on?
To protect our...
Where did you get the idea from?
Scientists.
Scientists? Which scientists exactly did you get the idea from? Go on. Name me some scientists that gave you the idea that putting a piece of paper with a couple of elastic bands, what's a sanitary towel basically, with a couple of elastic bands on, is going to do something.
Practically the whole world is wearing these.
Oh, practically the whole world is wearing them. Right, okay. And how did that happen? How did that happen? Did everyone just choose to? Did everyone just get up one day and say, you know what, I think I'll cover up my nose and my mouth? How did that happen? How did you get to choose whether you were going to wear a mask this morning?
There are people in this world more educated than you.
Because there are people in this world more educated than me, correct. There will always be people in this world more educated than most people, won't they? Because they're the people at the top. Yes, they're educated and...
You can't argue with stupid, Father.
You can't argue with stupid. That's true. I see what you're saying, although that's a little bit of a kind of weak way out. I mean, we are in the middle of a discussion, and I think I'm asking you a perfectly reasonable question. I'm trying to put... Can anybody explain to this woman why she's wearing a mask?
Propaganda.
Propaganda, that's right. You've been brainwashed. The government has spent literally billions of pounds in the last 6 months to make you think that you're choosing to wear a mask and to make you think that you're protecting everyone and you're so magnanimous. But by the way, mask wearers, if you eat meat, your mask wearing is an absolute joke. An absolute joke if you eat meat. Seriously. If you eat meat, you're a complicit in the most hideous torture and slaughter of hundreds of animals over your life. And then you walk around with your mask on, thinking you're so righteous, you're protecting other people from the virus. Give me a break. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, here, over here. So, can anybody tell, yeah, propaganda, that's right. She's been watching it on the news and that's why she's wearing a mask. It's not her fault, it's not your fault. It's not like it's your fault.
I couldn't take the mask off if I wanted to be selfish.
You couldn't take your mask off if you wanted to be selfish. Oh, look at that. Where did you get the idea that it's selfish not to wear a mask? Where did you get the idea from?
The media, the government.
The media! That's right, the government! That's right, those trustworthy people who don't have any other interest except your well-being, don't they, dear? And all our well-being. The government's always been really, really interested. That's what they do when they get together in their meeting. They say, how can we make sure all the poor people are okay? Yeah, right.
You're ignoring every good point you make.
I'm ignoring every good point. Which point have I ignored that you made that was good? I haven't heard you make any good points.
I have a question for you. Why are you so against masks? It's such an easy thing to do. That is scientifically proven.
Why am I so against masks if it's something so easy to do and it's been scientifically proven to
Reduce the spread.
reduce the spread? Alright, that's a
Why are
good
you so
question.
against it?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little think about the question and then come back to you. About 30 seconds or so. Oh, when I open my eyes, if none of you are here, that's fine. I've got to go home anyway quite soon. Okay, firstly, where is your evidence that wearing a piece of paper... Oh, hold on a second. I think that's a fair question, isn't it? Where is your evidence that wearing basically a sanitary towel and a couple of elastic bands over your nose and mouth, you know, I mean, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a personal question? Have you ever farted? I'm answering your question. I am. No. Okay, let me explain something, ladies and gentlemen. When someone asks you a question, yeah, and then they force you to answer the question in the way they want you to answer, that's a trick. They've asked me a question why I don't wear a mask when it's so easy and it's going to stop the spread of a disease. And I asked you a question in return. What was the question? I manipulated your question, I'm so sorry. I'm allowed to do that though, technically speaking. It's not against the law. It's against the law to manipulate your question. I'm not sure what you exactly mean by manipulating my question, but go on, what did I get wrong? What is my issue against masks? That's so easy to do. And I'm saying to you why, I'm asking you why on earth would I restrict my breathing, right? Why on earth would I A, restrict my breathing? Why would I do anything that some of the most greasy, dirty, low-life government people have told me to do, right? Why would I put that on my face, knowing that I'm going to touch it and it's going to go here and there, and it might even make it worse for me? Why should I? You are the one that needs to supply the evidence as to why I should. Yeah. It might not do anything, yeah, but might not do everything, but right. Okay, you're coughing into a cloth. Okay, so firstly, okay, let me go back a little bit. Let me go back a little bit. Could it be possible? Could it be possible that the reason why you've been told to wear masks is not really very much to do with protecting anybody? Do you think that could be another reason why you've asked to wear a mask? What do you think, Johnny? Do you think there could possibly be another reason why Boris Johnson has told us to wear masks? Do you think it could be a reason? So he can pretend to care about us, so he can keep us frightened. Because that's what governments do, right? They did this with terrorism. What they did with terrorism is they took something that was basically very unlikely to hurt you, yeah? You are more likely to die from a vending machine accident than terrorist, yeah? But the government never told you that. All they did was, like, every time there was a terrorist attack, it was all over the news, and you get all really scared, and they say, now terrorism is very high level, yeah? But now where's that gone? That's all disappeared. Why? Because they've got new fantastic, this is fantastic. They can say, oh, there's this virus along, we don't exactly know how it works, but we're going to tell you to do this, we're going to tell you to do that, and we're going to make you really frightened the whole time by saying things like, spreading things like, stay safe. Has a trick in it. Stay safe is basically saying to you, underneath it all, that it's not safe. You've got to be careful, you've got to look around, you've got to stay safe. Yeah, I mean, really and truly speaking, I think you should be walking around with an electron microscope, you know, so that you can see the virus if it just happens to turn up. How is that going to stop? Okay, all right, we're going to go for this. We're going to answer this question. Is that? No, I have answered your question. I've asked you what evidence you have that a mask does anything.
That's not answering the question.
It is answering the question. It is responding to your question with a question of further clarification. You have asked me a question, and I've said to you, what evidence do you have? Because I will not do that unless I see some extremely good evidence that A, it's going to do anything, and that B, it's something to be even thinking about. Because do you understand the real threats that are going around the world? The threats of climate change, of the environmental degradation. The Amazon is being destroyed. What's that? Mental health, yeah. Mental health is going through the absolute roof. That's the real epidemic, right? That's the real epidemic that affects young people much worse than COVID does. Mental health. These are the real things to worry about, whilst you put the mask on thinking you're so wonderful and magnanimous, and you probably, do you eat meat and dairy as well? Do you eat meat and dairy? No, you're a vegan? Wonderful. Really? How long have you been a vegan for? A year? Alright, fair enough. I think you just made that up, but I don't mind. You try to get 100 quid? Okay, we're going back to £100. He's going to try and go to 100 quid. Okay, what you need is to give me a good reason why you should reproduce. To make the world go around in it. Is that what you're saying? That's the 100 quid? Okay, let me explain to you the logical fallacy of what you're saying, why it's not true again. No, whether you have a child, whether you pass on your DNA to someone, is not going to make the blindest bit of difference to the world going round. It's going to carry on going round for as long as it goes round, whether or not you reproduce. Do you understand? But if no one has kids, then what? Then what? We're going to go extinct. Firstly, what's wrong with that? Has anybody here got a problem with us going extinct? Why? What's wrong with extinction? You want to be alive? Yeah, but you're going to die. You are all going to die, so what? So that's number one. Number two, we're not talking about everyone. We can't stop anybody, or all the people in the world from making children. They're going to do it anyway, however irresponsible they are, right? But we're talking about you right now. And you, whether you have a child or not, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference when the world goes round. You see what I'm saying? Yes, so I'm afraid it was a good try. Thank you very much for being part. You do get a free condom there. Are you done? No, you're going to just... Yeah, you're going to ruin it, aren't you? You did? Oh, stop my mum. Hooray! Yay! That was not a good reason. It's not! I've explained to you why it's not a good reason. Do you understand? Do you agree? Would you agree? It's not a good reason, is it? How many... I'll tell you what, even though I'm not going to give you £100, even if people put their hands up, how many people think that this man should be reproducing so that the world keeps going round?
No, because you're tapped.
What?
I said no because you're tapped.
No, because I'm tapped.
Yeah.
All right. Now, unfortunately, my age comes in a bit. I don't even know what that means. Can someone explain that to Please translate that for old people. It means I'm effing ugly. Alright, fair enough. You know, I mean, it upsets me a little bit, but then on the other hand, you know, we don't have to live together if you find me that ugly. Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let's give him a round of applause. He did try for the money, he did go for it. Come on, give him a round of applause. Anybody else want to have a go? £100? Now, if you can't come up with a good reason, then don't have the child, yeah? Make sure you take precautions. There are people during COVID who are having unprotected sex. Can you believe it? Unprotected sex. It's ridiculous.
It's going to happen either way.
It's not, it doesn't have to happen. You need to stop with that unprotected sex. Can you give a reason? No, I'm unprotected. Unprotected. There are people having unprotected sex. You can win £100 if you can give me a good reason why you should have unprotected sex. Go on. I can't say better than that. If you're having unprotected sex, £100 if you can give me a good reason, a good justification for having unprotected sex.
Mate, it feels better without a condom on, innit? That's why.
Oh my god!
That's why we
Oh yes. We're going to pop back to the masks. We've had a question about the masks, yes. I was going to ask the lady, have you ever farted with a pair of trousers and underpants on, and only to find that somebody who you're living with can smell it, right? Has that ever happened to anybody here? I have to admit that has happened to me. If a fart can get through 2 layers of both underpants and trousers, don't you think a virus can get through a piece of paper with an elastic band on it? Yes. Yeah. Oh, I see. It's so small that it can't go through. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying it can?
It could go, coronavirus could.
Yeah, that's right.
They make the mask so thin so it doesn't go through.
Oh, that's why they make it so thin that it doesn't go through. Oh, you mean that's why they make it so, you mean the matrix is very, very tight, really? Is that why they make it like that? Have you seen them being made, by the way? Go online and have a look at them being made in India. In some dirty factories there, making your lovely masks. And then, of course, you're breathing in it all day and it's all coming in. What are you going to do when you sneeze into it? Oh, horrible. Then what are you going to do? Have another mask? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm Social Experimentalist. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Do what the hell you like. I don't really care. As long as you don't reproduce, you can do anything you like.